The narrative channel. Our distillation of reality is the right distillation of reality. On August 22nd, 2019, the most famous magician of the last century was laid to rest after a long battle with yam rot. For the 80 years prior, Yampoodle Johnson had stunned the world with her extraordinary feats of conjuring. A master of both the stage and television, she never failed to induce aneurysms with her mind-bending magic. Welcome to the life and times of Yampoodle Johnson, where we celebrate the life of the magical virtuoso. I'm your host, Citrus Shoejowl, and as a cultural connoisseur, my opinion counts for more. There are no absolutes in the world of art, except for perhaps this. Yampoodle Johnson was the greatest magician this world has ever seen, a rare point of agreement between both critics and Philistines alike. In compliance with my blackmailer's demands, I'm off to the field to interview some Philistines. I can't even intuit a general direction for a solution, let alone a solution itself, like when she cleaned the Aegean stables. I actually saw her back at Carnegie Hall when she did her signature trick, the metamorphosis, in which she almost visibly transforms into a sweet potato. She's been boiled, sautéed, simmered, sliced, and dissolved in 200 proof hydrochloric acid. And every time, she returned triumphant. It's hard to live up to that. I don't envy her twin sister, Yam Poodle. For that matter, other magicians. How can you compete? Indeed, so great was the talent of Yam Poodle that magicians worldwide organized a boycott of her televised specials, claiming they created unrealistic expectations for magicians everywhere. Conspicuously absent from the signatories was a magician that perhaps came off worst in comparison, her one and only apprentice, Eschen. No, we're not doing that now. Sit down. I talked to Mr. Eschen about his famously tangled relationship with his art form's greatest practitioner. Yampoodle was a complicated woman, a strict taskmaster, a genius, no one questions that. We met when she was developing her famous style of post-modern magic. Inspired by John Cage's 433, she'd enter the stage and for 2 hours do no magic at all. As cultural gatekeepers, we rightly reward this kind of behavior with accolades. The Guggenheim Fellowship, the MacArthur Glowing Brain Grant, the Pulitzer Prize in Produce Variety Arts, and of course, the greatest honor one can receive in the world of art, parental approval. Anyway, while she was developing postmodern magic, she saw one of my shows and thought that I was her one and only true heir, as my show was similarly devoid of any astonishment. That seems to be the popular consensus. On YouTube, we find that TEW33ZY says, "He funny but sucks." The Boyo says, "1140 is when he put the lime in the left cup." The reincarnation of John F. Kennedy says, "Hella easy trick to figure out, he just had deep pockets." And DJK says, "He's so good I almost believe him when he says he tones it down for the stage. Besides that being an obviously funny statement, poor guy does seem a little bit like he doesn't quite know how to act right." Fair. But great for him for finding a joyous way to share himself. Act or not, I don't think it would be far-fetched to say one turn or another in a different direction in his life, and he could have been Ted Bundy. What the critics miss is that as a postmodern magician, I'm trying to show that magic doesn't need secrets to be beautiful, and therefore I deliberately use transparent methods. Is that actually true though? Your critics say that you're just making excuses for your incompetence. Okay. Mr. Eschen additionally roused the ire and ostracism of his peers after destroying her collected works. She had very clear instructions that after she died, I was to dissolve her works in 200 proof hydrochloric acid. But don't you think the world would have benefited had her secrets been preserved? Look, her secrets, her choice. She doesn't owe the magic community anything. The magic world has traditionally been overwhelmingly male-dominated, overwhelmingly mammal-dominated, and Yam Poodle shattered perceptions as to who could be a sleight-of-hand practitioner. Some of the greatest magicians alive today credit Yam Poodle with showing them that magic is a viable career path for entities like them. I mean, was some of her behavior problematic? Sure. She gerrymandered the produce aisles. She lobbied for taxes on single mothers, largely to spite her nearest rival, the Great Pumpkini. And of course, there was her regrettable support for the Pinochet regime. But you have to separate the artist from the produce. And as produce, she did a lot of good for the world. Think about her work as a UN global ambassador. It's hard to remember this, but only 10 years ago, people thought eating vegetables was okay. And largely through her activism, humanity has since moved to a 100% meat-based diet.
Hold her steady, Rufus. We got it.
She was a visionary, both artistically and morally. She infused our lives with mystery in a world where answers are always just a click away. She was unquestionably the greatest sleight-of-hand practitioner of my lifetime, and I am so proud and honored to have known her. By the way, what's the deal with the sock? Oh, those are pants. I'd like to take a moment to thank my supporters on Patreon, as their donations help fund the creation of this documentary. Its message is particularly important for our country to hear in these troubled times. As an expression of gratitude, I've decided to hold a raffle among those in the Yam Lentil Patreon tier and sculpted the winner's likeness into Yam Mash. Congratulations, and thank you for your support. We will be holding similar raffles in the future, so if you find this intriguing, the link to the Patreon is both in the description and the top comment.